Hello friends, welcome to the Love Notes Scrapbooking class. If you are watching this, that means you liked the workshop that I made for you guys. So thank you very much for that. And we are going to put that together. So we are using the Love Notes paper and complements. And we don't need a whole lot of other things. Obviously, you're going to need your pictures. You're going to need a journal pen of some sort because adding your journaling to your pages is important, right? So make sure you have that. And then I also am going to be using my ATG. I will be using some foam tape. I have my my little dust guy, Brainstorm right there, and maybe some glue dots. I haven't decided if I'm going to use these yet or not. And then we will also need a little bit of a liquid glue. So Tombow or liquid glass, which I don't know where my liquid glass is right now. Anyway, that's all we'll need for this. Not true. We will also need scissors because there are just a couple of banner cuts for you guys to do. Other than that, everything else is pre-cut for you and ready to go. So let's go ahead and get started. We will be adding the complements as we go, as there will be a few of them that are meant to be cut before you stick them down, just to give them a whole kind of different little view. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here are my pieces for layout one. You can kind of already see how the first page is going to go. And like I said, you guys have already seen these, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this because you wouldn't have purchased. So while I did some paper saving, I didn't really do any major paper saving. So if you wanted to have some paper to use because maybe you want to add a flip flop or something, there are some spots like on this page that you would be able to cut out an 8x8 square from the center of this paper to have a little bit of savings there. And of course there are some mats that you could do the same thing with. So just so you know, there is that. And of course with every design you see, you have the ability to change it because these are your pages. I encourage you to make them be whatever you want. And literally, I didn't even finish the first page before I ran out of glue. So that's okay because I have another one handy. I have a feeling that one's going to run out of glue as well. But I guess we will find out. So we are just centering this on our page. Simple enough, right? Now you guys will have to let me know because I know I'm going to have to do a refill on my glue. You'll have to let me know. Do you want me to leave doing that in the videos so you have an easy, quick reference on fixing your own, or would you rather me cut those out? Actually, I say in right now that I will leave it in, but I'm actually going to put a post up, a poll up, and find out. And then if most of you want me to remove it, then I can go ahead and do that before you even see this video. So I did not do what I normally tell you guys to do, which is to lay everything out before you glue anything down. Mostly because this page was such a straightforward, and I had already laid it out just so I could make sure I had everything. So this is what this is going to look like. You know what? I am going to pop these up. So I did have a lot of fun designing these. So I hope that you guys have a lot of fun making them. And these are just, this workshop is just the first step in getting back to normal. Now I did not really glue down my photo placeholders because I want to be able to remove those when I add my photos. And so I just wanted to tack them down so that I could see where I needed to place my photos. And yes, I really do rotate my pages like this constantly when I'm putting them together because there's no benefits in keeping them straight up and down in the right position. For those of you that use ATG, for those of you that use ATG, do you have a shim in your ATG gun? I have found that it really does actually help. Alright, so we are putting our tape in so that our tail is under. We're pulling it to the end of the writing. And pretty much regardless of which brand that you use, they have a leader on it that has writing on it. so this is my shim, and you can see I've put it on and off a couple times. This is where the little clip comes down, so I try to move that to a different spot each time. And voila, we're ready to go. All right. Like with all of my other videos, how much foam tape you add is up to you, or if you add foam tape, it's up to you. You do not have to add it. You can omit it 100%. If you want your scrapbooks to be relatively flat, that is 100% okay, and your choice. You do what makes you happy. Alright, so we just line all of these up so they are square, and that is the left side of the first layout. Let's go ahead and do the right side, and then we'll add all of our stickers. Alright, so let's go ahead and lay this out. It's a little bit harder to do when you have no fingernails. Alright, so this one is actually a little bit different than generally speaking. Normally we would have a white page that has, you know, all these different spots covered. But then we would have a scarlet photo mat for these spots, and I decided to go with a scarlet page base and then not have the mats to kind of give it a slightly different look. So I think it's a little bit fun. Hopefully you do as well. So what that means though is these are 4x6 spaces, so we are cutting our photos down 1/4 of an inch on two sides. And please remember, when you get your pieces, because of the print on this paper, things are going in all different directions. The prints that you see or use on specifically on this piece might be different. So take a look at your pink pieces to figure out which newsprint piece you want showing in that spot. If you care, that is. If you don't, then you don't, and that's okay too. So you will notice that we have a peach stripe that's very autumn on the backside. And I did that on purpose. No one else has done that so far as I know. And I just wanted to be able to stretch this paper to give you guys a little bit more. And so hopefully you like that aesthetic. I hope to be able to do that a little bit more in future workshops, because it's a great way to be able to stretch things. So I love it. All right, so in either of these photo spots, you can do a photo, or you can do journaling, or you can add a flip flap and do both and have your journaling hidden and have your photo on display, which I get. All right, and that is the second page. So let's look at them together. And let's add our stickers. So we do actually have a lot of them. And actually, I'm just going to bring in, this is just a silicone mat. And I'm just going to grab all of these stickers, and I got this at Dollar Tree, guys. So it's super inexpensive. Trying to grab all of the ones that I'm supposed to be grabbing here. I know, there's a lot that we're using. It's kind of crazy. This one. And this one. I'm going to go ahead. We're going to use this one, but I'm going to leave this on here for right this moment, just because of how big it is and we're running out of space. Oh, here we go. Alright, I guess I will go ahead and grab this one. Alright, and I think that's all of them for this layout. So let's put things together and verify. Nope, one more heart. All right, so let's go ahead and finish this. So this one we're gonna have to cut because we didn't put it down before, which is fine. The other option is I could, you know, kind of tear up some of that. I could pull this out, but I don't want to mess with that. So I just want to tuck this under just a little bit. And then this guy goes under here. All right, and then we're going to start building on the silicone because it makes sense, right? And I'm missing one. I'm missing a banner. Okay. All the beeps and things, of course, have to go off right now. Alright, so we're going to start with our hearts. And we're going to do this. And then we have our roses. Nope, not our roses. Wrong one. We're going to have our glasses. And this one, we just want that tiny little bit to show underneath there. And then we want our roses over here. Well, we want to make sure that this is straight. Now, if you have your all-purpose craft mat, that will work beautifully for this, of course. Oh, these are going to be stuck slightly differently. Okay. It just, to be able to get everything in video, it doesn't work great. All right, I know this looks a little weird at first, but trust the process. We're gonna stick this at the top of our striped paper. Okay, and then we're going to take our bear. Oh, we did not move over quite enough. Pop this up a little bit. So we need to make sure that we have enough room for our bear. Gotcha. All right, so we're gonna come again up to the top of our stripes, and our bear is actually gonna come from the top of the white mat and overlap our berry sweet. everything a good press. And then we're going to grab our little love sticker and put that there. Okay, so that is that for that side. Let's move this piece over here. All right, so we are going to build our XOXO on top of our flowers here. And we're going to do about like this. Hopefully it's straight. Looks mostly straight at least. And this is going to go just right here. Okay. And then we have our large heart. Trying to move things on the desk and not, shove them off the edge of the desk. Now let's move this up just a little bit. Maybe. I want my heart on here, kind of like this. I want to overlap everything so I don't have a gap in the center there. My problem was I was a little bit too far down. I didn't want my heart covering my photo, which I know you guys all know there's a way to work around that, but that wasn't the look I was going for this time. All right. It's crooked, but that's okay. We're gonna go with that was on purpose. Okay, so next up we're gonna build over here again. And so originally my thought is to maybe banner cut this, but now I'm thinking maybe not, maybe just leave it now. My idea was good before, but it's not quite working out how I wanted it to. Here, this is what we'll do. All right, so we're gonna do that. It does show a little bit right here, the words underneath, and that's okay. I'm going to show you what we're going to do there. And then we're going to off-center this other little banner just a little bit. And we are just going to put this right over here. All right, so we're just going to adjust where we had some of these hearts. Not that you know where we had them. And then this guy over here. See, just adjust. We can adjust. Now, I was not thinking about this, but originally when I was designing, I didn't realize that one of these edges was not rounded. So we can either move him so he's over here, because originally I was going to have him here, but I'm not a fan of this side being square and this side being rounded, and it's not like I can make this side squared. So let's go ahead and see about making him rounded. All right, that is not quite the right shape. Closer. All right, so if you guys don't want to do this whole mess of creating a rounded corner, you can just move your little bear over, or just use it as it is. All right, we're gonna call this good enough. I'm just going to line him up down here along the edge. And instead of putting this guy behind, I'm now going to put him on top. So I didn't even need to round that corner. And then just add this guy here. All right. And that completes page 1. So let me move things into view. So that is layout 1 all completed. Super cute, right? So these are 4x4 photos that are cut down to 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. So these are 4x6 that are cut down, and these are 3x4 full. So these are fully 3x4 photos. So you could do a photo mat, or you could do rather flip flaps on any of these photos. The flip flap would go to the full edge of the mat on these 4, and then would be the full photo. So anyway, okay, you guys know what I mean. All right, next up, this one was super fun to design, you guys. All right, so we have a white daisy base, and until we get some of this glue down, it might go in and out of focus because of the lights and the white and the black. So I do apologize for that. All right, so we have lots of these kind of weird pieces, and they are kind of specific on where you put them. So just FYI, to some degree anyway, they are not like, short of this piece, they're not absolutely specific. Right, so just kind of go with what makes you happy, and you will have a piece of vellum. Actually, you'll have multiple pieces of vellum. So you do want these to all overlap at the inside bottom. So just FYI for placement. And then these are not meant to align, okay? Not meant to align, just FYI. They're just supposed to be. If you want, you can make them kind of align, but they don't actually, like in the design process, this was not one ray. So just be aware of that fact. There is not a vellum piece for the bottom half of this. So now this is going to cover everything kind of like this. So part of why I'm showing that is so you can see how much vellum there is, so that you can kind of overlap it very minimally and still have everything fit the way it's supposed to. I'll show you why that's important here in just a moment. So let's go ahead and take everything, not everything off, but let's attach pieces. So, like I said, this top corner piece is the only one that is super specific at all. Everything else you can kind of do what makes you happy. So I'm going to bring this back over here so that I can make sure that these all overlap at the bottom. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run just a strip of ATG. Actually, before I do that, let's finish putting these on down here so that when I flip it over, things don't go flying. But this page was super fun to design. I had a blast with it. All right. So what I'm going to do, I guess I can't really flip it over because then I can't see. So I have my line of glue, and I'm just going to put this on the back. Right, I'm going to make sure that that overlaps kind of how I want it to. Right, just trying to get placement there, guys, sorry. And then I'm going to glue this to the back. You don't have to use a bone folder for this part, but it will probably be easier. And I did move it over too far, so let's see if we can get this pulled up. let's try this again. And yes, I'm just gonna leave this in because I think it's important for you guys to see too that I don't do everything perfect on the first try. Not even remotely close. Alright, well, since now we have it creased, it's a little bit easier. I can just line it up and fold it over. Right, and then I can take a glue dot these are the micros, but you don't have to go that small. I'm just putting them at the very bottom corner because I don't want them to be seen. Right, so I'm going to pull this tight and lay it flat. So part of it is, yes, we do still want it to kind of have a little bit of that buckle so that you can see the vellum paper. Even when you put it into your page protector. Okay. So then, right, we'll figure out where we need this to be. And you can move it a little bit more. We do have our sentiment. Let's go ahead and glue that together really quick. And you do have a frame, so you can either glue these two pieces together and then put your photo behind it, or you can leave it open between the two and put your photo in between. That part is 100% up to you. I am going to glue this together so the photo will go behind it, and then when I glue this down, I won't put any glue around the top part of that frame. Of course. Can probably hear my cat. He decided that right now is the perfect time to play with the noisy toy. So that's what that bell is. And that's him hollering because he probably just knocked it someplace that he can't get it. Set this on there so I can get it picked up a little bit easier. Make lots of little dots. I have found that dots generally make it so there's less squish when I put the project down. It's not a 100% foolproof thing, but it seems to help a lot. So for whatever that is worth, so if you want to offset this, you can, so that you can still see that black behind and have kind of a shadow effect. I did not, obviously. So just so you can see how things are going to kind of lay out, it's going to be kind of like this. So I do not want to pop up this newsprint style paper, because then I would need to pop this up, and I don't want to fuss with that, not even in the slightest. So that being said, let's go ahead and attach this piece down. Because as you guys have already seen, I did not include a foam cut piece for you. Alright, so the goal is to have that straight, looks straight. Alright, now with the dots. So the other thing that you will notice is your kit does not have the dot for width. And that was a purposeful choice, because I knew that they were going to get lost or ruined or something in transport to you guys. So it was a small enough dot that it missing is not going to go noticed. And if you guys wanted the dot, which to be fair, I also want the dot, so I'm going to show you. We're just going to take our black pen and add that. Okay, so unlike a card, you do not have to have everything all glued down. Because there's not going to be a whole lot of movement for your sentiment. Alright, I do want some foam on this though. And so let's look at that. That was perfect. That almost never happens. Well, that was definitely too big of a piece. That was not so smart. All right. So I am actually, right now, I am only going to take the tiniest piece of foam tape. I'm going to put it right here in that center spot, And that is going to be the only thing holding this frame on right now. So that when I add my photo, I have the ability to pull this whole thing off, get the photo in there, take off all the foam tape, and line everything up perfectly. Okay, so that is the left side complete. Well, not quite. There's some stickers, but we'll get to that. All right. Here is the other side. So let's go ahead and tack down these right quick. So these, let me just double check real quick. These are all true size photos and mats. So you have a 3x3, you have a 3x4, and you have a 4x4 photo. All right, that part's easy. So we have two larger pieces, and then we have the two other pieces as well, so that the page matches the other side. So super easy, super fast. And we're gonna do the same thing with the vellum piece that we did before. Alright, so we're just lining up edge to edge, top to bottom. And ditto on the newsprint side. Now I'm actually not slowing myself down for this video. I maybe should, because this is your instruction video. But if it's too quick for you, you have the ability to pause the video. And so I wanted this to be able to be used by people who scrap at multiple different speeds. Right? Not everybody scraps at the same speed. We all know this. All right. Yes, there's a little not covered spot there. It's okay. Trust the process. All right, so this is not where this is going to go, but let's go ahead and, yep. We'll add a crease on here. And then that will make it a little bit easier to get this attached and in the right spot. So in the right spot, again, is just kind of a semi-relative term. You want it to overlap on the top and the bottom. Kind of where it does that is up to you. And again, I'm just grabbing some micro glue dots to tack these corners down. And again, I do this so that there's still some fluff in our vellum so it can still be seen, but that our glue dots are not seen, or any glue is not seen on the page itself. Alright, so let me make sure that I put these in the right order. Okay, so I want foam tape on this smallest piece. Smallest square, rather. Now, something to take into consideration as I'm putting this on here is this is going to overlap like this. And so I want to make sure that I am not going to put foam tape where I need it to overlap my photo. At least mostly, because I do want to we'll add this piece here, we'll do this one here. So before I do anything else, these last two pieces that I did, these are going to be the pieces that overlap. And instead of leaving those backing pieces on, I'm going to go ahead and powder them. And grab a card base real quick so I don't have powder on my desktop. Alright, so I'm just powdering them with my anti-static pouch. So that they can still provide the stability that I want, so that part of my picture does not get pressed down, but it's not going to stick and interfere with my other pieces. Alright, so let's lay these out. So we are making sure that this guy covers this little triangle spot here. And then this is going to cover, just overlap a little bit. And then, there we go. Making sure that we don't have this one over here far enough that we can see these gaps here. Okay, so we're going to do essentially just like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue these down. All right. Put glue where it's going to overlap, so I need to take that off. One of those habit things. this one will go like that. All right, let's press these ones and then peel these ones. You know what, I want to double check. So I'm going to powder this because that's a little bit overlapping. So one of the secrets to the powdering is you don't want to just powder and then go. You actually want to burnish that powder into whatever you don't want sticky anymore, because it does actually make a difference. I have had in the past things that I have powdered and not burnished, just powdered and then moved forward in my project, and had it become sticky over time. And of course that is not what we want. Okay, so just to show you really quick, we can get under here. This is a card, so it's kind of thick, but we can get underneath there. Okay, so let's bring in both pages again. Isn't that fun? Now, if you wanted, you could flip this around. Obviously now things are upside down. If you flipped this so the red is on the outside, which might actually kind of balance it a little bit more, but both ways work. But if you were to do that, I would still do this arrangement, but I would flip them around to how we originally did them. So just for a little bit of reference. All right, so what do we need to do with our stickers? Okay, so we are going to be using some stars. Now, these stars are cut, so it's meant to be just the line, but I kind of like them filled in. So I'm going to leave them filled in. And let's see here. Kind of a splattering of stars here, there, and everywhere. I do think it's kind of interesting that there is a pressed in kind of dot on both of these larger stars. It's just kind of interesting. Right. Stick it back in there. So then we have this and this. So this one is going to be tucked under. Just like that. And then this one we need to powder. Because we're going to put this on top of a photo. So if you are worried about how much this might possibly overlap, well, I guess if you are putting your photos down when you're making this, you don't need to worry about making this not sticky. You can just literally put it right on top of your photo. If that is not the case, and you're doing like I'm doing and saving the photo part for later, you can do like what I just did and have just the edge sticky, or you can take a piece of scrap paper. Let me show you actually. All right, that's just a little bit too wide. Most of them are. That's okay. So let's just cut this one down a little bit. So it's literally just a scrap piece of cardstock, and I have it so it's ever so slightly less wide than our piece. Okay, so I'm going to fold this, and we actually want, because of our foam tape underneath, we want this to be shorter on one side. All right, let's kind of see how that fits. Not too bad. All right, let's put that upside down over there. So we're going to add, now mind you, this is just an alternative way to do this. You do not need to do it this way. This is the, just in case you're worried about how to add your photo underneath it. Ooh. All right. So I'm gonna slip this under here. I want this to sit about here. So I'm just squeezing to glue this underneath, right? So this is underneath our photo mat. So since it's already glued down, I'm just using my tweezers to squeeze. Right, so now we have a little flappy glued to our piece. So this little flappy is not included in your kit, just be aware. And then we can just attach this on top. It has that little bit of glue still. It does stick out a little bit, so let's go ahead and finish gluing. Let's just add glue on this whole thing. Just holding it for a few seconds so it can dry. All right, and so then you have a little flappy that you can clearly get your photo into. And then once you have your photo down, I would recommend using a glue dot or something just to tack that down. Okay, so that is our page 2 all done. Right? Pretty neat. I really like how these all turned out. All right. Last but not least, I guess I didn't need both pages over here. All right, so the title for this one, this is where I want to be, right? So we need to do a little bit of things. We need to banner cut our piece. Because this piece is so long, I have no worries about it creasing in the center. I'm just gonna fold it over, not fold, bending it over, lining it up on the end, and then I can just cut the dovetail one time and it will match. Right, perfect. I love it when things go exactly as you planned, right? Okay, so there is nothing else that we need to pre-cut except our sticker. All right, so this piece is going to get a sticker. And that is going to be this sticker right here. Pretty simple. All right. And let's lay it all out so we can see how it's supposed to go. So our title is not supposed to go to either edge. It's not exactly centered either, but just kind of there. I know that sounds terrible, but all right, this will go underneath here. Of course, we have our photo and mat, and this again is a trimmed 4x6 photo. Okay, so that is essentially what it's going to look like. So when we attach our vellum, we have a lot of spaces that we can put the glue. We can put a dot up here. We have all the space under here. So we have a lot of glue area. And yeah, so this spot here is for some journaling. It'll go nice and quick. Yeah. So when I was designing this little cutout here, the design itself, or the file or image itself, there we go, actually has the red be the outline and the white be the solid base underneath. And I think it's easier to glue it opposite, and so that's why it looks like it does. All right. So you can kind of build your cluster however you'd like. Sometimes it's easier to do things from the top down. Other times it's easier to do things from the bottom up. It really is quite dependent on what is happening for your page. You know, I'm not sure why I just added that, because that is going to make things really difficult here in a minute. So that's a waste of a glue dot, but that's okay. That's okay. It was only one glue dot. So I do know that I want this popped up, and I'm not going to do pop up. I'm not going to do under every single letter or anything like that. That would be crazy. And I know you're thinking, but that's normally what you do, Michelle. Crazy. Like, to a degree, yes. But even I am realistic at times. Maybe not many times. But so hopefully you guys are enjoying this workshop. Like I said, I had a ton of fun kind of designing it. These will be popped up. And like I said earlier, you do not have to pop anything up if you do not want to. Alright, so let's go ahead and glue some things together. this page is so fun to do. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm trying to figure out how to make it work how I wanted it to and still look good and all that jazz. So oh, I'm like, why is this like sticking but not sticking? Because there's only a tiny bit of it actually attached to the vellum because it's kind of an overlap. Alright, this will work much better. Let's make sure this is straight first. Okay, and then we can flip this over and we can see exactly where we can put that glue. So we're just making sure to line up along that right edge. And you know, because we're going to glue this down, we don't actually have to glue down. We need to have that glue dot at the top. I'm just going to center this. Alright, so let's glue these pieces down before we make it hard and lay down the foam tape. Alright, so we do want this to go under. This right about there. Is it straight? Yeah, straight enough. And if we just make it really crooked, then it doesn't matter, right? It looks purposeful. See, and even with all of these pieces, this page takes very little time to put together. So just to head off any questions, which I probably should have said at the beginning of this page, is no, you will not be getting the inside of any of the letters. It is designed to not. Okay. So remember to glue only half this little block, so we do not glue over top of our photo. Then we are just going to add these right on top. Just like that. All right, now to the other page. And we're going to mimic a lot of things across the two pages. So let's go ahead and kind of lay this out so we will have that same vellum piece. And so this piece is going to be not quite centered. Let's actually, before we do much of anything else, I know normally lay things out, but let's make things a little bit easier. So we're going to have this on here so we have kind of an equal border on the right and the top. Alright, that'll make things a little bit easier. Before we glue the vellum down, we'll make sure that this matches at the top here. So again, we have our trimmed 4x6 cards, not cards, photos. And so those will go like that. And then this piece will go like this. So these are trimmed 3x3 photos. So they're 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. So this will go like this. This will go here. This will go over here. And this will go here. So let's do our little bits first. We need to banner trim this piece. There. We do have a sticker to go here, so let's do that so we can trim that. Actually, we're not going to need to trim that because that one is already a half circle. Okay, so that's kind of our starting point. So let's do some things. So this piece, I'm going to do kind of the same thing we did before, except I'm going to do it in advance. So I'm going to fold this piece over and just add some glue on the back so we have that banner trimming over. And then we're going to do some foam tape on here. But we're going to make sure, so I know this is upside down, but this will give us a good idea of where this can and cannot be. So I know that's a little bit far from that edge, but it gives us that little bit of extra space in case we adjust the photos or things like that when we're gluing things down. And then, like I did on the other one, we are going to add these pieces so that they can not fall. And remove that sticky with the anti-static pouch. So, pounce, pounce, pounce. Go ahead and pounce a little bit more than you think you need to, and then burnish. And you'll find that you probably have some spots that don't have enough powder. So just pick up what is on the paper itself with your finger and just burnish. And then I do blow off the excess just to be safe. Alright, so let's move these pieces so we can attach our large hearts piece. Easy peasy. So let's bring in our left page so that we can make sure that we have these lined up. Make sure that we are attaching them in the right direction. My pages seem to be cut slightly off. That's okay. All right. Let's go ahead. We are almost finished. So I'm not pressing these down super hard just yet, because we have a few things to do with a couple of other pieces, like our banner here. This gets tucked under here. under, so it's just love. And happy day. Also gets tucked under. For this one I'm tucking under the photo and not the mat itself. Okay. Nope. I knew there was one more. So we're going to put something under this corner here. That's going to be this flower here. All right, much better. Let's attach this. So I'm just going to make sure that the point is lined up between the two photos. We're going to make sure we're on the page on that left side. And then we're going to bring in our flower and de-stickify about 3/4 of it. Just going to kind of center that here in the middle of our rounded bits. So we still have the ability to get all of our photos in there still. Let's see. We have just a few more bits to add. Let's actually bring in our other page. So we do have a little arrow that we're going to add. We're going to use a little pink button. We will poke out the center bits. And yes, that one I'm not cutting. That one will go across over the edge. Oh, these buttonholes don't want to let go. All right, let's see, what else do we have? We have a here we go. A heart circle. This one we're going to tuck under here. just a little tuck. And then the white circle with the pink flower. We're going to put up over here. And then the white circle with the pink heart and the pink circle with the white outline heart. These are going to go in the centers of our "You Are Here" markers. There's probably another name for these, but I don't know what it would be. And that's it. That is page 3. So, I really hope you guys have enjoyed this workshop, and I can't wait to see you guys show me your pages finished with photos on them. So this is page 3. This is page 2. And this is page 1. So thank you so much for purchasing this workshop from me. I really do appreciate it, and I can't wait to see your finished projects. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.